mean, I'm happy for Petrovahova. She went out there and she earned that slalom win. I'm really happy for Tessa Worley. She went out there and she won another GS. Welcome back to the race recap. I am Joe, and this is probably the best source for ski racing analysis on the internet, literally speaking. It is January 3rd. Last week we had 4 World Cup races. We had the men's downhill in Super G from Bormio, and we had the ladies GS and slalom from Lienz, Austria. How do I put this? I'm an American, okay? And when it comes to ski racing, Americans are seen as maybe not a second-class citizen, but we're definitely seen as being the people that get to participate in the European sport. All right? I don't want to compare it too closely to soccer, but it feels like they feel like they're over there calling it football, and we're just being silly Americans over here and calling it soccer. But after watching that week of racing that we just went through, Bormio and Lienz, I just can't help but say, get a groomer. My God, the snow conditions in these 2 races were brutal. The GS in Lienz was bumpy. It was gnarly. There were slick spots. They were carrying a lot of speed over all that kind of bad snow. The slalom was like pretty ugly to watch. How there was like one gate that was massively slick, and then there was sections where you didn't know who was going to be fast and who wasn't fast because the snow was all funky and wildly different speeds were happening. I mean, I get it if Bormio's that track where the locals just get like such an ego boost, they go out and just ice it down and make it hard, make it gnarly, make it rough, make it big time and epic. All right, I could kind of get on board with that. And if Bormio is going to be this like brutal beat up of a race, then okay, I could kind of get on board. But did more than 4 guys in either the downhill or the Super G have a good run? I don't think so. I think what we saw was a bunch of mediocre skiing and a bunch of guys who didn't quite have it figured out. That being said, there were a few guys that did have it figured out. Obviously, Odermatt gets his first downhill podium, which I think is super cool, and is really fast in that downhill. Dominic Paris gets back on the top step of the podium. Couldn't be more fired up about that. Good for that guy. It's not often when a big fellow like that comes back from an injury that he gets all the way back, but he did. He wins again in Bormio. That's fantastic. Niels Hinterman looks like a real deal speed contender at this point in time. 2 podiums in a row. And after those guys, you start really hemming and hawing to find something good about everyone else's run. I'm pretty happy with Travis Ganong skiing right now. I think that he's doing really well on the World Cup and has been pretty consistent, being a top 10 guy. And that really is going to play well for him moving into the Olympics. So I'm happy with Travis Ganong. Steve Nyman has some good things going in sections. Had the big mistake in the downhill that really cost him some time. But I think, what did he score points? Yeah, 30th place for him. James Crawford. I'm really excited about James Crawford skiing right now. I really feel like that kid is a special talent and is going to be really, really fast moving forward. I don't know if he's totally got the size, but neither did Darren Ralphs and neither did Andrew Weibrecht. So I really like what James Crawford is doing. I'm really looking forward to seeing where he goes this season in his speed racing. In the Super G, it was another Alexander Amat Kilde crush fest. The guy, again, is just a little bit stronger, a little more powerful over the outside ski, getting the ski to bend more, carrying more speed because of it, able to keep more G-forces going and faster down the hill. Ralph Hasser, that was a surprise seeing him in second, but good for him. And then Vincent Kretschmar kind of got back to being vintage Kretschmar. Looked really good out there, 3rd place, really happy for him. Ryan Cochran-Siegel, I think for the first time, showed last season's form. Maybe not quite to the extent where he won this race last year by over a second, but he showed that he is now ready to contend and be there for a podium And if it had not been for Ralph Hasser's kind of special run that he had late in the pack, I think our RCS would have been on the podium in this one. Bad Voice, 5th in a Super G, fantastic. So much for being a downhill specialist like everyone was carving him out to be at the beginning of the season. I don't know. I didn't get super jacked up about Bormio. Get out there with a groomer. Groom the thing down. Make it smooth. If you need to know what really good groomer skiing is like, come on over here to Park City and go ski Deer Valley. Deer Valley's fantastic. They groom it out every day, and it skis tremendously because of it. So maybe we could do that, but maybe Bormio's not the track for that. Where it is the track for that is Lienz, Austria. When I had forgotten in my mind which track Lienz was until the opening scenes in the telecast. And right when I saw the track that it was on, I was like, oh, great, here we go. It's not a great track, but I think it could be a great track. It's a real rolly, kind of undulating, cool track to be on. There's a lot of cool places for delay gates. There's a lot of cool places for terrain changes, tempo shifts, all that. But the snow is just so crappy that similarly to the guys where you only had like 4 guys who put a good run down each chance down the hill, in each run of the GS and each run of the slalom, there's only like 4 girls who really went out and skied it well. And I don't think that's a great product to watch, and it's not what I get excited about as a fan. I like to see the best skiing from the best athletes. I don't like to see tentative skiing from a lot of athletes and then the same 4 athletes that always ski great, skiing great. I mean, I'm happy for Petra Vlhova. She went out there and she earned that slalom win. I'm really happy for Tessa Worley. She went out there and she won another GS. She earned it, particularly on her first run where she got it done. And I'm really happy for those two. I thought they had great skiing. However, as you move down through the field, there was a lot of people that come through and they're frustrated and they don't know what's going on. And a lot of people move way back. Some people move way up. But it's like, is that really the best version of ski racing that we can put on out there? I think not, but again, I'm an American, so what do I know about these things? I think Petra Vlhova getting a second place in a GS is really important for her, and with Michaela missing a bunch of races due to COVID, and with Laura Goot missing a bunch of races due to COVID, and with Sofia Goija going out in basically all the GSs that she's entered so far, there's a slim door that's open right now where Petra, if she just keeps on podiuming through the rest of the year, could end up in the overall conversation once again, where maybe Taco and I had written her off. Sarah Hector, 3rd place, 2 podiums in GS in a row. She looks good out there. She looks strong out there. I really thought she was going to pull it off. I thought she was going to win this race. However, she loses to Petra by 0.08. And then Tessa Worley did what she needed to do. She went out and skied like a veteran. She came down and sealed the deal and won the thing. I was definitely rooting for Sarah. Didn't happen. I was psyched to see Federica Brignoni's second run. She won the second run with some amazing skiing. She didn't get intimidated by the bumpiness, by the bad track that was Lienz. She went out and really just sent 1 second run. She gave out one of those primal yells on the finish line. That was cool to see. And Federica Brignoni appears to be rising and getting better. Here's somebody who maybe isn't going to be in contention in the overall, but is going to be there at the Olympics and is going to be there World Cup after World Cup, putting fast runs down and contending for podiums week in and week out. Ragnhild Mowinkle is spectacular right now. 3rd place first run. She was fired up. She was psyched about it. She's putting power into the skis again. Where before last season, she wasn't getting any power into the outside ski. Now it's going into the outside ski. And I'll be honest, I had forgotten kind of how good Ragmo is and how she does it. She does it with a very aggressive, powerful, dare I say, River Radimus type style. And I am super excited that she's back. It is great having another contender on the circuit. She is followed up closely by Marta Bassino. 6th place, and we have what maybe is the best GS skier in the world. This was a great World Cup in terms of if you want to see the best, you saw the best. They were at the top, and that's who they were. Camille Rast. I said last episode that she was going to be a better GS skier, then slalom skier on the World Cup. And I thought this race was her coming out and proving that. Remember, when we get to the slalom, we'll find out that she's going to be really, really good at slalom too. But Camille Rass went out and sent it. Went from 25th into 9th on the first run, had a quality second run, and ended up 7th. So 7th in a World Cup. Camille Rass looks like now she's a top 10 girl, and she's going to continue to be there. I like her spirit. I like her energy. I like her aggressiveness in line. She really straightens it out more than most. And we're going to get into some line stuff when we move over to the slalom. The other one I want to touch on is Katrina Truppe. It is good to see her returning to form. 2 years ago, she would have been considered one of the top 3 Austrian tech skiers on the whole team. Last season, she fell off quite a bit, did not make the World Championship team. I thought that was a huge setback for her. Wasn't sure quite how she would respond, but she is responding this season in a big way. She qualified for the second run, 27th place, didn't look so good. Okay, where are we going with this, Katrina? And then second run, she throws down the second fastest time. Looked good doing it. She is willing to carry speed more than the other girls. Truppe is a very slight girl. She's very small. She's not going to overpower anybody. There's just no way. But Truppe, it carries speed. She's willing to go fast. She is willing to run a straight line, and we're going to get into that. So Truppe goes straight, okay? And I want to draw kind of what Truppe's straightness looks like, because I don't think it looks quite like what a lot of, especially young athletes, think of when they think of going straight, okay? A lot of what young athletes think when they think about going straight is going straight at the gate. Boom, boom. Okay, and a lot of times when kids go straight, they are chopping off the line. Chopping off the line means like when you would have a line up here that goes kind of like this. Here's the apostrophe-shaped line that we always like to draw. Chopping it off means not using this part of the turn. Okay, now Truppe's straightness and Camille Rass' straightness, for that matter, in the GS, Truppe's straightness looks like this, where she is really just working the fall line here, comes this way, and then gets the feet over, works the fall line here, and comes this way. And doesn't really do a lot of turning. There's not a lot of bend in her skis. There's not a lot of arc to it. So she looks like she's going fairly straight. But she's getting her turn started way above the gate, and her pressure is here. Obviously, when she goes from here to here, there's some feather going on. But she connects very high in the turn above the gate, so elevation above the rise line for Truppe is very high, and then bam, she's ripping straight. And I know early in the season I was talking about how Truppe's arc was very tiny and her pressure was very short. However, she did not run that style here in Lienz. She ran this kind of wall technique where you're trying to pressure the ski in the fall line and then maintain your momentum through the turn and coming across the hill with momentum. And that's kind of how Truppe was getting it done out there in Lienz. Now, she skied good in the GS, and I was really happy for her. But in the slalom, Truppe made a sick second run. She goes from 13th to 4th. She wins the second run. And I had to watch again because I saw this when I was watching the video. However, I need to go back and verify it. On the last pitch in that slalom in Lienz, very long pitch, it was a very drawn out, long camera looking in, almost to the point where you're looking head down on the athletes as they're skiing the slalom. And that's why we're drawing it like this. I no longer am putting gates in like this because it ruins the perspective. We're looking at lines going straight down. We need to be able to see the gate. And if we wanted to, we could add to the conversation the body, the center of mass, how the center of mass is obviously inside the gate. Comes over here, it crosses over, probably somewhere around transition, moves back inside the gate and goes like this. This would be a center of mass. So the blue would be the center of mass. Okay? So I think these little dot guys representing a gate, that way there's no perspective or no 3D issue, are going to be a way better way to draw things moving forward. But on that final pitch, you could see that she was getting the skis in the fall line well above the rise line, okay? And then carrying speed and coming over. And when she did it, she didn't really turn much. And this is why I say she's going straight. because there wasn't a lot of bend at the ski, but she's only moving this way, then this way. Now, how do we contrast this? Okay, Petra Vlhova wins the race. She gets second on the run. She's only 2/10 off of Trupe. Runs a little bit later, not that much later, but Petra Vlhova is skiing it differently, and Petra is not running straight, so what's Petra doing? Petra is coming in here with a very schmeary start of the turn where the tip of her ski is kind of following this track, the tail of the ski is feathering out quite a bit, and then she gets the arc going this way, boom, there's arc, now more schmear, into the turn, boom, and she's going. So Petra is running, and this is a little high, this isn't the right spot. Petra is running this really short pressure. Not really short, it's kind of a medium pressure, but it starts here, pushes in with power. Here's the slide, slide, slide. Connection right here, it's carving. Okay, maybe she comes a little shallower off of that. Let's try and be accurate. She comes out of here. There we go, into here. Now back into the schmear, schmear, schmearing. Schmear, schmear, schmearing, power carve. Okay, so there's more bend in the ski. So Petra's getting more roundness, skiing less straight, okay? So here's two, very different styles that were very obvious and very easy to spot from that faraway camera view looking down at the last pitch. And one of the reasons I didn't love this ski race is because 70% of the girls ran this line, which is behind the gate skiing. They came in old school straight, traditional straight. They came in here, and then they had pressure, and then the pressure was all below the gate, and that caused them to come in here, and then they pressured, and the pressure was again all below the gate. And this is another thing that was really, really easy to see from the girls coming down that final pitch who had pressure above the gate. Not many, okay? And then what does late pressure look like? Well, it was very obvious. It was on display. I'd like to talk about Erin Milzinski because I thought she had a really great first run. However, on the second run, she'd be an obvious one where you go back and you watch her come down that last pitch and you see the late pressure. And you knew she was losing it. Something else that came out of Lienz that maybe is why I didn't love the races so much is I was having a really hard time seeing the speed in this race. Normally, I'm pretty. Normally I get dialed in and I can kind of call the splits as the girls are coming to them. However, in Lienz I couldn't do it. And one of the trouble spots was I think on that little coach's knoll coming into the final breakover before the finish. I think it actually went uphill a little bit right there, and when they go uphill, it really makes the issues a lot bigger. And if there was a mistake or they lose speed coming into that uphill, or even worse, if they skid the skis or don't ski them efficiently going up the uphill, they lost a ton of time. And it was really hard to see, and it was really difficult to predict who was going fast and who wasn't. So as the girls came through that final split before the breakover, they might be in touch, they might not be in touch. And Erin Milzinski is a girl who was in touch coming over the breakover, though she was losing it. And then coming down that pitch, when you get that far out camera angle, I was just focused on this. Are they skiing above the gate still? And unfortunately, most of the girls could not ski above the gate on that final pitch, and they'd lose a ton of time. Girls were losing 0.8 on that final pitch, left and right. Some of them were losing 1.2 at that final pitch. When they show the split sector rankings at the right-hand side at the end of every run, there were some massive time gaps being handed down to girls who were running this late technique. So it was a really great place if you want to go back, rewatch it, and watch that final pitch and see for yourself what skiing below the gate, what skiing above the gate, what skiing with a round arc, and what skiing with a straight arc can do for you. This is just 3 examples of the lines that I saw out there. You got Trupe running a straight line, the good straight line, where it's above the gate, coming clean underneath, and basically you're just running straight gate to gate, but you're making sure to have all your pressure, transition done above the gate. Trupe just kind of runs a light feather. There's no power into it. It's just a light feather, gets her ski here, sets them quickly, moves over to here. And then the rest of the girls who are behind it, boom, laid into the gate, all the pressure below, now having to come steep across the fall line. That's another way to lose a lot of speed, and then run another below the gate pressure turn, and it was pretty ugly. Erin Milzinski, though, 6th place on the first run. That is a fantastic first run from her. You saw the pleasure, you saw the happiness in her, and I was really hoping this was going to be the breakthrough for her. Second run did not go so well, especially on the pitch, and she looked like that confused, upset person again, and that's a bummer to me because I really root for her a lot. Lorraine St. Germain, 9th place out of Canada. Fantastic job there. Getting back to Camille Rast. She went 7th in the slalom. I thought she was going to be better in GS and slalom, but then boom, she shuts me up. She comes out 7th in a slalom. Good for her. Fantastic ski racing. She's looking really good. I think that she is going to be a contender moving forward. Really exciting to have another person kind of up in the top 10, knocking on the door, making some moves. Sarah Hector, 10th. Anna Sven Larsen, 11th. I was a little disappointed in Sven Larsen. Coming out of the last slalom block, I really thought she had something. Actually, coming out of Levy, I thought she had something. Killington looked meh. And then, unfortunately, Lienz looked very meh. And that kind of bummed me out a little bit. But Paula Moltzen, she's out there racing with what sounds like a broken wrist. That's too bad for her, but I hope she can heal up and get back to it. She just didn't look comfortable. She just didn't look like she had the confidence. I don't know if it was so much the hands or, quite frankly, if it was that snow surface. Terrible snow is a really hard thing to go out and have something wrong with you, figure it out, and do it really well. We hope that Paula Moltzen can heal up and get better as soon as possible. Ali Nollemeyer, 19th. Decent day for her. Pretty good second run. She looks good at times. I see some good skiing. I don't really want to get into the rest of the Canadians and the rest of the Americans because it was crappy snow. And I don't just want to rag on girls when they had a bad day. And there was a lot of girls that went out there and had a bad day. And I don't really want to be a part of it. Same thing on the men's side. I don't really want to go through all the Americans and Canadians on the men's side because it was really crappy snow and I don't want to talk about it. So, moving forward, we are headed to Zagreb. This might be, I know I said it about Madonna de Campillo, but Zagreb is my favorite slalom on the circuit. There, I said it. I like it. It's long. All right, you get a lot of chances to see the athletes go. Really good runs are really, really good runs because it's a long race. And one big mistake can be overcome because it's a long race. A minute slalom, fantastic to watch. It's all moderate. You get to see people's best. You get to see guys and girls just absolutely charging. There's always one section after that weird little bridge thing where they all go on opposite ends, opposite sides, first run to second run. There's always a section right after that little thing that is just lick your chops, hammer time, and it's so fun to watch. Look forward to it every year. And then after that, we move to Maribor, Slovenia for a slalom and GS. Slovenia not known for the best snow conditions, so hopefully Zagreb can kind of give us some good snow, give us a good taste in our mouth moving into Maribor. All right, and then the men go to Alboden for 2 GSs and a slalom. Looking forward to that, obviously, because it's Alboden and that race is flipping awesome. That's kind of all I got for this week. If you are liking this stuff, like and subscribe, please. And now carving season has shown up here in Park City. Last night I went out and did my first carving session with my good friend Val. Shot some video, threw it up on the channel. Look for that moving forward. I am going to try and show some things that I talk about here in those carving videos and hopefully add some better content for you because I know people have been looking for that and want to know about it. In the meantime, if you want to see me analyze ski racing, the Ryder Sarchette video is where it's at. I break down what makes Ryder Sarchette good at ski racing. So watch that and try and do the things I talk about that make him good. Don't worry about the other stuff. And remember, some of the things that make Ryder do good are a tail slide, a stivet, lack of pressure, and not all just about rolling the skis up. In fact, I think he only rolls the ski up for 3 turns in that whole analysis. So take that with a grain of salt. It is what it is. Keep watching. Keep shredding. Ski Dad. All right, Brett. How was it? Dude, I just didn't have that much to talk about. Just watching guys bump and be ragged for 2 minutes down Bormio and I don't know. And then another guy just comes down with a little more punch and a little more intensity over the outside ski, a little bit better balance, and then he whoops up on him by 1.5. Yeah, of course. I mean, having better balance gives you a better chance of winning, obviously. But I'm not even convinced that their balance was because they have more balance, or is just because they were less afraid and just had like the testosterone to just drive it down the hill. Yeah, sometimes that's what wins. I mean, sometimes the guy with more courage wins. I think that's the word for it, courage. 4 guys with more courage won. Yeah, there's girls with courage. Tessa Worley obviously has a ton of courage and grit. So is Petra. Petra wasn't intimidated out there. Trupe? Trupe's got a ton of courage. I mean, for that little girl to go out and battle the way she does and have the speed that she does, there's courage. Camille Rast has courage. She's a downhill mountain biker. Tons of courage. She's just shredding. Brigioni, tons of courage. Do you see Brigioni was 16th in the slalom? That's really good. What do you think's going on with Shlokar? Yeah, it doesn't seem to have it. I wonder if it's a snow. I wonder if it's just too intense for her right now. She needs a smoother surface. She's not ready for this. If you remember last year, Shlokar in that slalom, she broke out and did really, really well. That was the same series that Alice Robinson had that first blazer of a second run in the GS. And I think Alice needs the good snow to do really well. So I think that there's a correlation there. Shlokar, good snow. Alice Robinson, good snow. They both needed to be good. Yeah, I think Lena Polkovich is awesome. She rips. I think she's one of the better ones out there. And I think she's just getting better and better. Well, she's got the speed. Now, maybe she's not putting runs together quite as good, but she's got the speed. It's fast. It's fun to watch. No, Brett, we already stopped the show. We're not putting this all at the end. What, do you think they're going to like it? But yeah, voice fell. Who the hell is this Stefan Babinski guy? It's a wrap. Done.